Welcome back. Today, during reading time, I want you to consider what is your character's main goal? What is it that he or she is just striving for? And then how are they doing it? What actions are they taking? What choices are they making to put themselves in the best possible position to achieve that goal? How are they getting after it? So enjoy your books, consider your main character's journey, and I'll meet you back. Today, our work is on Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. And it's not that I have a dream speech. We all know that one, love it, it's beautiful. But this one is a lesser known one, and I love it because he's speaking to middle school kids. He's at Barrett Junior High in Philadelphia, and he's speaking primarily to African American middle school kids, and he's talking to them about their somebodyness, having dignity, owning your life, and working for those things that you hold dear. And he recognizes that middle school and junior high kids, you're at kind of at this crux of your life where you're making some really important decisions, which will shape the way the rest of your life will go. And so, like, I had this youth pastor, and he said, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. A lot of us in middle school, we're making friendships and we're forming those influences that are going to carry us through high school and maybe even beyond. You're making important influence choices like, just role of extracurriculars. Which ones do I love? What role will sports play in my life, and how dedicated am I going to be in the off season, and how am I going to conduct myself in season with regard to my teammates and my coach and my training. The role of music in your life, what's that going to play, or art, or whatever these extracurricular things are. Getting involved in student leadership opportunities like calling all colors and peer-to-peer and student congress in our school, making decisions about faith and the role that plays in your life, or different mentors that you're choosing, family members that you look up to for wisdom and who you want to model your life after. And you're kind of making some kind of developing some habits of mind about how you go after things. Like when stuff gets hard, what do you do? Do you give up? Do you take easy way out? Do you share Google Doc with your friend, look at their answers? Do you look at your Google stuff on your phone? When stuff gets hard, do you check out? Do you start playing a video game? Do you quit? Do you go find a game on your phone? Or do you stick in there and you become really gritty and hardworking and persist and settle in? And so Dr. Martin Luther King in this speech, he uses a metaphor of a blueprint for your life. And he's saying in this blueprint, you got to have a good plan. You got to have a good foundation. And so you can build a good life after that, good habits of mind, good influence, and ultimately a good purpose for what you want your life to have. And so I actually have a clip of him giving this speech, and I want you to bear in mind it's not super high quality because this is 1967, and he delivered this speech at this middle school actually 6 months before he was assassinated. And so we're just going to watch just a part of it so you can get a sense of what it was like as he delivered.
I'm going to be brief because I have other engagements. I don't have a tradition of being brief all the time. I'm a Baptist preacher. We can talk a long time, but I'm going to really be brief today. I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint.
All right, and from there, he suggests 3 things that should be in a good, solid blueprint. And it's true, some of you, you're thinking that your parents or whoever's raised you, they may not, they might have lived a life that you don't agree with and things that have been in it that you don't want in your life. And so I want you to think about your life and what kind of blueprint you want to build, because we are the architects of our lives. So teachers, this link will allow you to bring up the speech if you'd like on your big screen. And then students, we're going to go to Google Classroom and you will find our speech analysis assignment. And it's pretty short. So I'll give you a second to pull that up. When you do, it's just a Google Doc, and it is "What is Your Life's Blueprint" by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so I will pause so you can find this document. All right, so here it is. So 6 months before he was killed, he spoke to these students at Barrett Junior High, and he gives 3 points. And so I'm just going to kind of preview what you're looking for in this speech before we read it. And it's not a long speech. He even said he was going to be brief. So it's 3 key points I want you to identify. So it's the 3 main points. This is order of importance organization. He builds up to his most important point last. So you're just going to put, what is a key point? And then over here to the right, I want you to paraphrase. That means put in your own words. What do you think that means? Just a simple sentence or 2. Okay? So point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. And he's easy to follow because he uses great transition words like first and then secondly and lastly. Okay? So you'll be able to pick out the 3 main points without trouble. But just really thinking, what do they mean to you? Dr. King uses a lot of metaphors. The whole speech is a metaphor. Your life as a blueprint, a plan for your life. But he says if you can't be a pine on the top of the hill, then be the best little shrub on the side of the hill. What does he mean by that? So I want you to unpack that metaphor a little bit. And 5, he's talking about being the best you can be as one of the main points of his speech. I want you to list 3 specific things you can do to be a better at whatever it is you do, a better student. Maybe you want to talk about being a better athlete, a musician, an artist, a student leader, a family member. What is it that you want to do specifically that'll shape you into a better human? And number 6, he said in his final point, he talks about however young you are, you have a responsibility to seek and make life better for everybody. So I want you to think beyond yourself. What are 3 things you can go do to make life better for family members? And I want you to go beyond just be nice. I want a specific action that you can take. Making life better for a friend, a classmate, a teacher, a coach, a neighbor. Okay? And then lastly, I just want you to select a line that you think is the most inspiring one from his speech and why. So that's our work today. It's not incredibly long. Let's go ahead and click on his speech together. And I'm going to get you started, and I will turn the text over to you. Okay? So go ahead and find this. I'll pause so you can pull up what is your life's blueprint. Okay. What is your life's blueprint? Dr. King offers life-changing advice to teens in this inspirational speech. We're going to preview a little bit of the vocabulary here. Dignity. With dignity, he's talking about like your worth, your kind of like that pride in yourself, the esteem with which you hold yourself to. That's dignity. He talks about a stigma, and a stigma is kind of like an unfair blemish or a stain or negativity surrounding something that's not always fair. And they do have these words down here, and you can match them up. So dignity, we know that's all about like honor and respect, holding yourself to that. A stigma is kind of like negativity or a blemish or a stain, something bad. As you continue through the speech, he's going to use the word increasingly. And we know if something is increasing, that means it's gaining, it's growing, gaining momentum. So that one's all about becoming larger, becoming greater. The word sociological, I see the word society in there. So if it's sociological, it's relating to our world, all people, society. He talks about a plight, and a plight is a challenge, a hardship, a dilemma that you are facing. So those 5 words you will encounter, but as you notice, it's not a very long piece. And there he is. I'll start and then I'll turn it over to you. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered some of his most famous, most eloquent speeches in American history. His best known speeches, though, were given on a national stage about national issues. But this speech is different. In it, Dr. King speaks directly to teens just like you, and he offers very personal advice. The speech was delivered to teens at Barrett Junior High School in Philadelphia on October 26, 1967, just less than 6 months before Dr. King was assassinated. And he says this: I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is a most important and crucial period in your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. Whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint, and that blueprint serves as a guide for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, your own somebodyness. Okay? I'm going to stop there and I'm going to have you pick it up. Okay? So continue on. We're at don't. You're going to read through his speech, and then your choice if you want to work through the questions with Podmates, although they're very personal because you have to think about what you can do to be the best you can be, how you're going to make life better for those around you, and what line you find most inspiring. So do some good work, think hard, give your best effort on this, and we look forward to your responses. Thank you.